Well, today I'm in the potting shed because it's absolutely miserable outside. It's damp, it's raining. And one of the things I like to do is propagate some of my house plants, and particularly the succulent ones, because it is really so easy. So we're going to talk about soil mixes, the type of pots they go into, and the cuts we make, and where to put the plants while they're developing roots or growing the roots they have. They probably, when you do a division, they don't have much of a root, and they need some time, protected time, just to grow on a little bit more before you put them into their permanent place. All right, so in my hand now I've got some purpose-built, purpose-constructed potting soils. Well, this is a specifically blended cactus soil. I'm going to put a little pile next to that. Okay, so I usually add to things to make it a little bit more interesting. And the first thing I'm going to add is a little bit of grit. This is a bonsai type soil, and you can see it's very gritty. The grit allows fantastic drainage, but if it dries out, it can be a bit devastating. So let me just pour a bit of that there. Lower down, we've got some other bits. This is the part of the bonsai soil mixture. It's like a volcanic or heated rock. It's able to absorb moisture and nutrients and have them available for plants. And here is a classic. The classic Pennsylvania stone, sandstone. So why do we need all these different ingredients? Well, a lot of the cheap potting soil is too peat based, and it's going to remain too wet, and it helps, can actually cause rotting of the roots. So I'm going to kind of blend them together and show you what I think is a good soil mix. And it's just like mixing a bread mix. We're just gonna, don't have to use your hands, but all right, so there we go. You've got speckles of different stones, different aggregates around it, and when you squeeze it, it kind of springs back and crumbles. If you squeeze it and it stays together, that might not be a good sign. To start my plants off, I always like the terracotta pots because they're able to weep the moisture out if there's too much and also let air come in. So where to start? Let's start with this right next to me. You can see this is a great big elephant food plant, and it's shooting up like crazy. I'm going to do a couple of little cuts. 1, 2, 3. You can be long, you can be short. Doesn't really matter. The secret, though, is to fill a pot loosely. I'm up to about an inch, half an inch from the top. All you have to do is remove the lower couple of leaves. They just pull off like that. In terms of cuts, I don't know, I'm just old school. I always used to cut at an angle, make a point, and it's easier to push these in. So all you do is just push them in. Going to firm them down so the soil makes contact, and then give them a good water. And probably this time of year, probably within 4 weeks, they've already developed roots. Let's look at something a little bit more complex. This is a Sansevieria. I'm going to pull the pod off. What I'm looking for is nice white new growth. So that says the roots are fairly healthy. And how do we go about separating? I'm just teasing is the word, just gradually feeling if he's going to be a separate plant. Is he connected to the mothership? Oop. And he's broken off there, and there's plenty of root on that one. So there's one, and again, same with this one. I'm just teasing, and up they come. Again, plenty of root. It's a dwarf mother-in-law's tongue. It's not going to get very tall. I'm going to put these into one container to be root out a bit more. So let's do that, making sure these longer roots can go down a bit deeper. A couple of places to press down and just hold it in. So there we are. We have a little propagation nursery there. 3 little mother-in-law tongues, Sansevieria. Now here we go. This is something combination planting. We have this agave here, which I want to kind of separate from a forest of aloe. So I'm going to pull it out. Looks very dry. So even though the soil is parched, these plants are quite able to survive. The succulent means there's lots of water stored either in the roots, and in this case in the leaves of the plant. So they're quite capable of dealing with very dry conditions. I'm putting these little crocks over the hole. They're like little bridges. They allow the water to get underneath the bridge and go out of a hole, but it stops the soil from running through. Now this is going to be pretty top heavy, so what I'm going to do to stop it from falling over, I'm going to add a little bit more grit. And I'm going to put the heavier soil mix right down there at the bottom. And that will give some weight and hopefully stop the poor plant from toppling over too easily. Now this one, because it is so short on roots down there, I'm being a little bit more firm with my packing the soil in. Just want to show you a couple of other things. This is actually a very rare, this is a trailing hearts. It will cascade out of a container, and you can do a little propagation by what they call a butterfly cut. You have to be patient because they're not far. They're expensive plants because they grow so slowly. I've just cut the 2 little leaves off. That's why they call it butterfly. And if you sink that stem into some soil and carefully water it without washing it away, that would root out as well. And hopefully at some stage you'll have a much longer, bigger plant. By magic, I've just brought this in front of you. This is a German healing onion or pregnant onion. There are lots of names for it all, but just look at the amazing foliage it creates from it all. And there's a flower coming up here, just about to flower. The bottoms are opening up a little bit, and then it opens up, and then you cut it off. But look how it propagates itself down at the base. There are lots of little baby onions forming. And if you're careful, you can tease one of these away. And I'm teasing it away and gradually trying to get some root on it, pulling. Oh, and we got a little bit of root. But you can see even on the side of a main onion bulb, there's a baby forming there. And if you pot it up in a smaller pot, it will soon size up. I have to say this one, when I bought it, was no bigger than this. And I was thinking, it's not very nice, but this inside in the house is just such an interesting shape. It really is a specimen. So it's important to know the kind of plant you're dividing. And you can get information, obviously, online. There's lots of information, but there are excellent books. Now, this is one of my favorite books here. It's got all the common succulents and how to propagate them, how to look after them, with gorgeous pictures. And in terms of doing little cuttings and divisions, well, when I passed my exam for the Royal Horticultural Society, I bought myself a little Swiss Army knife brand propagating knife with that wonderful sharp high carbon cutting blade. It does very neat cuts, very clean cuts on the plant. So there you go. Propagating plants, it really is that easy. You may lose 1 or 2, it doesn't matter. You can have lots more at the end, and you'll be able to fill your house and give gifts to your friends all year round. Thanks for watching.